My name is Carsten Vogt. I'm a professor for computer science at Technische Hochschule Köln, Cologne, Germany. Property animation is a very powerful technique for programming animated applications in Android. Sometimes, however, it can be a bit complex to use the classes that Android provides for this purpose. I've therefore developed a package with utility classes that make programming with property animation easier. In this demo, I will give a short overview about the fundamental ideas of this package. The next video will show some details of the code, and in the third video we will walk through a series of demo applications that show the application of the techniques. Property animation is applied to objects with setter methods. It is used to modify property values over time, from start values to end values, by repeatedly calling the setters. For a view, for example, we could call setY repeatedly with a parameter increasing from some start value to some end value, which will effect a vertical movement of the view on the display. The advantage of property animation is that it is very powerful and flexible. It can be applied to any property, to any setter, to any object with such setters, and the timing behavior and the sequence of values can be specified either by Android-defined classes or it is freely programmable. The drawback is that the programming can sometimes be quite complex and that you have to write some boilerplate code. So it is useful to have utility classes for property animation. We defined such a package which contains some useful classes for this purpose. The central class is called Animated GUI Object CV. It is a wrapper class for animated objects which can either be drawables or views that can be displayed on a screen. We see here on the right hand side some examples of these objects. The second class is class Animation View CV, which is a subclass of view to contain such objects, to display them, to animate them. And there are also some auxiliary classes. The forms of objects that are supported are manifold. We can have squares, rectangles, circles, ovals, we can have polygons, we can have texts, bitmaps, we can display view objects, although this is still somewhat experimental. We can group these objects and we can draw lines around and between these objects, which allows the display of graphs. The supported animations of individual objects are these. First thing is that we can move objects around on the screen along linear paths with either one or multiple segments. We can move them along arcs, circles, ellipses, spirals. We can use Bezier curves, quadratic or cubic, and we can attract objects to some specific point or repulse them from this point. We can scale them in the X or in the Y dimension. We can rotate objects, we can change their color, we can let them fade in, fade out, we let them blink, we can move them to the fore or to the background, and we can leave trails behind the objects. For object groups, we have the option to align them either to the left, the right, the top, the bottom, or with reference to the center. We can distribute them with specified horizontal and or vertical distances, and we can place them or on a circle or on an ellipse. We can rotate objects around a center and we can scale, we can zoom them with reference to the center. We can let graphs appear dynamically, and we can detect collisions and proximities of objects, and we can react to them with freely programmable programmable listeners. We can react to touch event and gestures. The programming steps are these. First step is to create an animation view CV object by calling a constructor. Second, we specify objects to be displayed, as many as we need. For this, we create the object through a constructor, we register animators for the object, we have specific add animator methods for all types of animator we listed above. We can combine these animators in a set, which is an optional operation, to play them sequentially or at the same time. We add then the object to the view and then finally will display the view on the screen by calling setContentView, and we start the animations.